Hello guys, welcome to my channel. If you're joining me for the first time, thank you for the time. And if you're coming back, also thank you, I appreciate it. Feel free to social the vibe, okay? And acquaint yourself with my channel. Now, for those of you who might ask what my channel is all about, my channel is about women and whatever affects them, most specifically Nigerian women. Okay, so yeah, and on today's topic I'll be talking on this radio presenter, women activist Ahmed Isah. And for those of you who don't know, he is a human rights activist who kind of serves as a self-acclaimed ordinary president, superhero, and he's an ordinary president chosen by the people because he kind of solves their issues and all, and to an extent is effective, but the methods, however, can be quite as gruesome as the perpetrator. All right, so now we might ask, how does this affect women issue, the matter and everything? One, representation and all, but no, I want to talk as this as a human being. Knowing that Nigeria, for a fact, we feel neglected sometimes by our immediate home because there are many children who their parents leave. Hawking food or hawking stuff, So, yeah, most children are felt neglected by their parents due to sometimes perpetual poverty, of ignorance, lack of education, and by education I mean street education, native brain, this form of education about human empathy, about self-awareness, because in Africa religion, okay, in ancient Africa, knowing yourself first, even up to date, but it's less practiced because a lot of things have blinded us. Okay, a lot of programming, lot of unawareness on our part and lack of knowledge of who we are, what we want, all those things. The line is quite blurry. That's why when someone crosses the line, when we feel like our rights have been denied for quite a while now, when someone crosses the line in the bit of trying to prefer us some what of solution or hope, we cling to it because it's just like it's just like imagine you crossing Sahara Desert for a while without water, and when you see a drop of water, you see small water, even if the water is dirty, you can even drink your urine because it's poisonous to the body, yes, but it quenches your thirst, so you cleave to it. So sometimes I really can't blame some people because some people might be that deep in shit, okay? And to others, it might just be they're drowning already and they're looking for help, they can't swim and everything, and you who is not good, maybe you have good intention but you're not good at swimming, so you're of no use because both two lives are going to be lost. But lack of awareness and maybe not telling yourself the truth, you jump in to save the person. Well, the person sees the little help. Now I am drowning, I need help, the person chokes you inside. Okay, so all these things are dominant effects. Now this is what I'm talking about, Ahmed Isah, okay? Because I believe somehow somewhere in this man, behind all those grandiosity, behind those self-righteousness and jungle justice that is seeped into his psyche, I believe somewhere he's kind of a John Doe. Okay, so he maybe have a little bit of a good intention to help people. Maybe it's not because he wants to be celebrated, and the power that comes with it, especially when you go to 48 laws of power, how people, you know. I can't remember which one now. It's been a while, sure, but I will explain what I'm talking about, okay? So, you know, you launch on people's weaknesses, people's vulnerability, become their hero. They worship you at all costs, all means, to the point that they are blind from your toxicity, from the fact that you might actually be a parasite. But then again, you create this mirror, this mirage, this smoke effect where the more you look, the less you see. I mean, the less you look, the more you see. Oh, you know what I'm talking, Sha? You get. So the reason I'm bringing it up, the reason I'm talking about it, I said I would talk about it on my previous video. But anyway, check it, okay? But the reason why I am talking about it now is because Nigeria, we are desperate for help because we don't get that help. But from the government, from the people, from ourselves, we don't. In fact, we we find this principle, we find this self-worth, we find this virtue in poverty, in striving, in suffering, not striving now, suffering. And that was why when I don't want to go too deep. I don't want to go too deep, okay? Because I'm thinking as I'm saying this. So take me as I am, alright. But before we were taken as slaves and all, Nigerians, we really didn't fight for our independence, okay? Somehow, I guess we were studying. We love peace, we love people, okay? No matter how different we are. See, Nigerians we are very diverse, even down to Igbo states. Before Igbos became one, okay, we were known as small, small countries. We weren't like, if we need each other help, we can go over to the other community, which is not even, we don't realize that community, we saw it as a country. We go, we layers, if it's war, if it's to settle peace, if it's for marriage, anything, we go, we do that because that's how we see. So we are diverse, but somehow, in our relationship, we were having an relationship, okay, amongst ourselves. And so we are quite diverse, even down to the most ethnic group. We are quite diverse, okay? So we're Nigerians, we are filled with all the things, but yet we are very accommodating. In fact, even in music, give us a music beat and we accept it. Before you knew it, it will skyrocket like boom, like that. So we are the hub, we are consumers hub, amongst other things. So we're going to do right by you. We just have to like you enough. Okay, so the thing is that we Nigerians, because we are so steeped in survival, we forget our power because our power manifests in different ways. But because we don't even know who we are, as a Nigerian, you can try to save a Nigerian who you might not be directly appealing to the person's bias, but then again, you're trying to help the person. Someone can kill you for trying to save them, like to open your eyes. Like that's how dense we are, and the most educated of them, by the way. This is how we are. Now, what is our power as Nigerians, if you ask me? Is the power of influence, the power of change. That was why when they were doing that SARS demanding answers, the government noticed how powerful we are because we were one. You couldn't separate the Muslim from the Christian. You couldn't separate the men, the boys from the girl. Like we were so into it. We were one. Their nonsense propaganda that worked on our fathers and our mothers couldn't work on us. That was their fear. So they had to send hoodlums, knowing that if they couldn't get us, who would they get? Thank you. So we have this power of influence, but because we don't know who we are, we don't even know ourselves, we are still surviving to feed on crumbs or nothing. Or we love our life too much, we love our life so damn much. But we always lose it in the quest of trying to save it because we are saving nothing, not in this community, not in the present state of things. Now, why I'm saying this is because I understand why someone will. I understand why someone, if I was feeling ostracized, if I'm an outcast, which I am. By outcast I mean sometimes I don't always blend in. Okay, I'm the black sheep of the family. All right. So, so if you're kind of an outcast, all right, and somehow you don't fit into a box per se, you might, um, when you finally feel somewhat of acceptance, you might, no matter how wrong that thing might be, you might cling to it because this is the only place we feel welcome. You have to realize we're human beings. We have emotions. And we're supposed to relate. We're supposed to interrelate because we are gods, we are goddesses, okay? We're supposed to relate. We're supposed to commune. We're supposed to together solve solutions. But when we cling to, ah, I don't want to go into evil cosmologies, but there's something they call the more, there's something they call chi, there's something they called album, there's some, okay, that's four, right? All these things are inside of us, but they're separate, okay? They all have their different missions. Now, so as human beings, even though we might be different, the fact is that we're supposed to come as one and solve our individuality, our individual differences. But because we are so used for a long time now, we have forgotten about ourselves that tie us to the land, that tie us to God, that tie us to ourselves, that tie us to our mission. That first, we see ourselves first as human beings before everything. So because of that, you might lose your freedom, you might lose your sense of belonging, you might lose your sense of purpose because you have been fighting, striving to survive, but it's not working. Now, when you see someone who brings a little bit of water, you either drown the person. Maybe the person might have a little bit of good intention. The person might drag you down. You might drag the person down below because the person don't have clear view. And I think this is where Ahmed Isah falls in. I feel like he has a little bit of a trauma. Because as a human rights activist, you're supposed to have a good sense of right and wrong. Okay, now I might play the video a little bit, but because of copyright, I don't even know if I should play it, but I will link the full video below so you watch it. Okay, you watch it. So, now, am I saying that, do I agree with what the woman did? Nah, that was highly demonic. But you have to remember, when he started this as the voice of the people. Why? Because when it comes to Nigeria, the rich, if it's all about the Benjamin here, we act like we are morals. But you see the most moral person waiting on the phone for alert to come so they will go and get money. Because I don't know who did us this thing. But we act like we're so moral, but really tempt someone with the perfect evil. So yummy and enticing, the person who grabs it. So I just wish we collectively knew that we were weak somehow. But above that, we were very strong when we know who we are. You know? So as human beings, okay, we like to be seen. Aside from we like to be seen, we like to be heard. Now imagine if you haven't been heard for a while and you see someone who comes as a form of a savior, you will cling to it without minding the person's ulterior motive, whether it is sincerely good or just for selfish reasons, just to make the person's self look larger than life. Be your Jesus. Now, on the surface level, you might say this and be like, yeah, he's a passionate man who is fighting for justice. Which I agree. He's a passionate man, alright? But I don't know if he's really fighting for justice because there's nothing to justify about his actions. Nothing. The impulsiveness. Can you see the way he slapped her? Yeah, that boldness though. And one thing I want to say is this. Be mindful of those who want to help you for no reason. Everyone has a selfish reason, no matter how they lie to themselves. Even those who feel like, I'm doing this because I'm selfless and this and that, I want to help you. See, maybe they just want to feel like they're making impact. Maybe that's their own selfish reason. It's okay. But 9 out of 10 people want to get something greater out of it. Including me, people like my channel who bring about self-awareness, mental health, women owning their power and all. One of the major reasons why I'm doing this is because it's self-therapeutic. As much as I want to help, and I feel like helping women somehow creates a better space for the future and where my children, my kids will be. And me too. So you see, it's quite selfish. Now, will it help? Yes, very well. Will it help some ladies get back their power? Subtly, but surely. Yes. That's selfish of me. I'm not doing it because I just want to do something selfless, coming service to the. Nah. If not, I would be an ask kisser on this channel. I would have probably had my own popular point of view. But nah, because it's quite selfish. So yeah, including me, be mindful of what I say. So be mindful of those who act holier than thou, those who never shite on themselves. Be wary of them. Look at the influence. So you are trying to. The reason you started is because the rich people have some assets that poor people don't have. Now you have one rich person who plays by the rules, but rather enjoys the fame that comes from being there. Because a lot of people really overcompensate for their dark side and try to be good just to kind of numb that dark side. But you just need to give the person a little bit of space. You see the person's real self sleeping, because a lot of times we human beings, we show the world, because of a lot of criticisms and judgments, we show the world a representation of ourselves that makes us, we know we don't fit into that box. It's not possible, it's impossible. But due to the fact that there is this thing called stick and carrot exchange, where you're given a carrot to be awarded for you being a nice boy, a nice girl, so you kind of, children learn that in on LA. I didn't learn that. I learned that way too late because I was so blunt, I was so naive, so nice, that I was so honest. But I learned that the difference between I and other kids is that they were able to switch to be nice, and they get the reward both from parents and every other person. So at the end of the day, the truth really doesn't work. It's actually the lie that helps. So human beings, we present those representation of us in order to blend, to, feel wanted, I feel like that was what he did. But the little moment when he thought the camera was off, he couldn't control himself. And I think part of him felt like he has been getting away with it for a long time. So now, people were so bought into his show that he knows that people won't really question and demand for their right. And human being, it happens. See, when you are in a place where your rights have been taken for a while, things happen like that. Is in human nature. So that's why I had to bring this for discussion, because at the end of the day, on the surface, this might look like as if he's fighting for justice, but really, is it justice? Or maybe I am just thinking too deep into this. Is this? And you have to realize that again, this is the dynamic of power. The reason why that child was you have to understand this on a deeper level, because sometimes there are reasons why things happen. Okay, there are cause and effect of things, and things don't just happen coincidentally. Now here he has the power of the people. He has the mind of the people. That's power. He is charismatic. That's power. He has the attention of the police people. That is double power. Okay. And now he has everyone eating from the palm of his hands. Okay? Now, as the aunt, right? the woman who burnt her, look at her own power. Now, I understand in the society, women don't really have power. They don't. Okay? They don't. But when it comes to hierarchy, children are dependent on mothers to be alive. Right? So that gives you some form of power. Okay? You're an adult. That gives you another power. Okay? You you are in a state where people really don't care about justice. The police don't really care about the case of a woman. Ignorance gives you a little. I feel like that's why some people fight for ignorance, fight for, because it kind of gives them a little bit of a taste of relevance. Okay, now this is power. Look at the dynamic. Now she tied a child's hand, bond habit, knowing that you had an edge over the child. Even the child might not even know this might be wrong or bad, but still confused, just like some children who were molested by an uncle that they knew. Because you're supposed to know better, but you're telling me to do this. And that's why parents shouldn't expect their children to just do what they say. They should, in fact, give the child permission to always ask questions. Why did you do? Because what you're programming that child is to obey whatever another uncle or someone who seems like and it's stupidity for you to expect the child to question another person when the child just answer to anything you say, knowing fully well that your judgment might be narrow-minded sometimes. We are human beings. We make mistakes. If there's anything, children see things more clearer because they haven't been corrupted by bias, sort of lot of sentiments. They might be emotional, yes, but they still see clearer because of where they come from. So now this child rely on this adult. Now that power, you use it to abuse this girl. Now this is a man. He's not just a man because in the hierarchy of the whole thing, men are more powerful than women. Even if he's a zombie, he is still powerful. Like that's how it is in this society. And also, he's also rich. He has the mind of the people. That is double power, like I said before. Now, this is the dynamic. He did what he had to do because you know that, well, I'm stronger than you. She did what she had to do. So where is the justice really? Slapping a woman like that? You didn't even care. Now, it makes me question, does he beat his wife? Does he abuse the women he work with? Because the way he was so confident in releasing the slap, I felt it from here. Now, don't get it wrong. There's another part of me that feel like the woman deserved it. But the code of conduct here is what matters because there's a ripple effect. There's a chain effect of all these things. Because if you could get away from this, that means you guys are also digging the same hole. You're trying so desperately to crawl out from. Even when he was calling the police, he didn't even tell them what happened. They just came. The same justice you claim you're fighting for. Maybe it is for good now. Was that effective? It was effective. Sadly, it was. And I don't blame people for grasping to their only form of hope they know. Because really, would I? So, yeah. So we need to be careful. Now, understand. We don't have the privilege sometimes to question ourselves. Sometimes to look at the mirror. Because we are quite deficient in so many levels. Okay, we don't have the ear and the heart of the government, our leaders, and all. I really don't like talking about politics, really. I really don't. But when it's kind of concerns us, then I have to talk about it. Because I do well to avoid it. But sadly, because of human rights, because it affects human integrity and women and all. And the truth is, again, could it be why he slapped her like that is because she was a woman? I don't want to say it like that, but look at the interview of the guy who kidnapped this lady, who was going for job interview, trying to do best, like she got the highest in her set. So she did everything to the point that he even had to talk about sex, like talk about things just because she understood the male gaze in Nigeria, how we are hypocritical, how we have double standard. He had to throw all those things in just to kind of discredit her a little bit, because a lot of times when people say something as a woman, if you say something happened to me, say, what did you wear? You know? They don't ask you, sorry, how did you escape? Like, nah, is what did you wear? You might have called for like all those stupid talk. And yet, when they were interviewing him and his father, no one slapped him. In fact, they were treating him like a celebrity, someone who raped and murdered a lady, and that's not his first complaint. That's not the first time he's doing it, neither is it the second. He was being interviewed as an adult, no journalistic ethic there. But this lady received a slap. Big one. 2. And counting. And you have to realize, sometimes I feel like we're really damaged, like trauma bond, like we are all full of people with trauma we never healed at all. And we're still finding a way to survive and smile every day. And that's why sometimes I'm like, I encourage women to tap into their dark emotions, because you can't be smiling 24 hours. Because there are times for you to actually, now, as much as I don't agree with women fighting and bringing out all those masculine energy, but you need them sometimes. There's times you have to switch for it. You can be masculine and feminine at the same time. So really, you really can be masculine and feminine at the same time. Alright? You just have to know when to. And women, I know we have intuition, we have the spirit of discernment, but sometimes you have to be logical. Sometimes you start questioning things. That shouldn't be your dream at all times, but that should be your, we all have it too. So tap into it. Because in this dispensation, your logic works sometimes. Except you've really worked on yourself to an extent where your intuition is so one with everything, then you follow it strictly. Alright? And it's okay to be selfish. So I understand. But then again, you have to also be honest with yourself to know when it is affecting your reality, your power, your credibility as a human being, all those things, the truth. Because don't rely on someone, like feel like, because we rely on a savior, because as Nigerians as a whole we rely on a savior, we wait for a savior to help us, we always sink deeper. And this is an example of it. We wait for a savior so bad that even when things are happening, we don't question ourselves. I bet you that some people, because they are waiting for rapture to come, that's why they have not even decided, let them fix their home, fix themselves, fix the country. I bet you. So this is a food for thought. This is me thinking early in the morning and recording. And I say this is where I come to an end. I know we have lost short sperm, but anytime I keep on talking, I just keep on going. So yeah. Thanks for watching, and this is where I say bye till I meet you next time.